Since last June, I've been in the need to get a second job to cover my family expenses. It has been a tough time, but luckily, I found a position where I can work a few extra hours after my main job. I usually finish by 10 p.m. every night and walk a short distance to the nearest subway station. Last week, I left at the same time as usual. Weekdays at that hour are not very agitated, so there were not many people on the street. After about 5 minutes walking, I started to have the feeling that someone was following me. I turned around and precisely, there was this man walking some 30 yards behind me at the same pace. He was a white man and about 6 feet tall. I did not mind it at first because he seemed to be minding his own business, so I kept on going. As I descended to the station, I heard the echo of his footsteps behind me on the stairs. I needed to go down 4 underground levels to get to the line that would take me home. What started to worry me is that the man was going the very same way I was going. Down and down I went, and he was there. And now he was closing in. When we arrived at the final level, I foolishly hoped that he would take the other tunnel to cross to the other side of the lane. But no, he was still behind me. When I arrived at the bay, I was hoping there could be someone there, but no. This underground was as empty as always has been at this hour. I turned left and went to the furthest bench. If he was really following me, he would have to go there. I sat calmly and saw the man emerge from the tunnel. He glanced left to where he was, then right, then again left. He held his gaze upon me and started to walk slowly towards me. As he came closer, I put my right hand inside my jacket, as if I was holding a weapon. The man stopped for a moment, but then kept on walking. He then stopped again a few feet away from the bench, and then sat. I was looking at the signs waiting for my train to arrive, and to my dismay it said, "Delayed." I was of course scared, but my expression was otherwise calmed. After a brief silence, the man spoke. "Brother, I need some metal. Do you have something to spare?" He was staring at me expressionless and holding his hand open in front of me. "No, dude, I have none." Without changing his expression, he added, "Well then, anything will do. Your wallet, watch, laptop, even teeth are worth something." "Ah, don't worry. I know you're not holding anything in there." Then he was the one who drew a small but very sharp knife that had fresh blood stains. As I was contemplating this, a group of kids around their 20s entered the bay. They were yelling, singing, and laughing at the top of their voices. The kids were drunk and unaware of my situation, but I took advantage of it. The man got distracted by the noise, and as soon as he turned to see what it was, I took my chances and ran for it right to where the kids were. They greeted me as if I was a friend of theirs as I started to sing the same song they were singing. As if it was divine intervention, the train arrived, and the door stopped right in front of me. The kids went in, and as I was doing the same, I turned left. The man was standing up with the same emotional expression and talking away the knife. I hopped on and left to safety. The very next morning I quit that job. After a week, I found a new one. But still, I shuddered to think what could have been of me. It was a Saturday and I needed to go to work to prepare for an important presentation for Monday, and I didn't finish until 8 p.m. I went to the subway station 2 blocks away to find it crowded. That was the commercial district, so it was natural to find it crowded at that time, and all the trains were also full. I managed to find a seat on the almost full train I hopped on. I was going 14 stations ahead and was very tired, so I made one of the mistakes that no one should ever do: fall asleep on the subway. I woke up after what looked like an eternity to find myself on an empty wagon, but for an old lady and a little girl. The train was moving more quietly than usual, as if it were arriving to a station. I looked up and waved to the little girl, who smiled back at me and came walking happily. She sat next to me and told me, "You fell asleep on the train. Whatever you see or hear, don't leave on the next stop." I looked at her, and she looked back and smiled at me. Then she stood up and went to the old lady, who was smiling too. I was still digesting the little girl's words when the lights went out. For a few seconds, everything was darkness until the train announcer called, "Last stop. Please leave the train." How long have I slept? The last stop was 6 stations further than my exit point, and only half an hour had passed. I heard the doors of the wagon open, and the light slowly came back. This station was all decayed and had blood stains all over the walls. There were fires lit all over the place, and there were people eating hunched over them. I looked inside the wagon for the girl and the old lady, but they were already gone. I made the mistake of drawing breath because the people at the fires heard me. At an inhuman speed, about 20 pale-skinned, skeletal people got to the doors of the wagon and remained there. They were bald, completely white eyes and with pointy teeth. At the sight of me, they dropped the meat they were eating and started to drool. For a few moments I was there transfixed on that image until I heard again train announcer. "Step away from the doors." The doors closed and the train started to move again. I do not believe in supernatural stuff, but I know what I saw. After a while, my station was announced. It was particularly empty except for a general services staff man who was sweeping the floor. He saw my face and came to me. "You saw the missing station, right?" I couldn't say anything, so he continued. "I have seen it myself a few times, but I am used to it. No one knows how it's there or why it appears. As long as you listen to the little girl and don't leave the train, you should be fine. She only helps the ones who are nice to her." "But those things I saw there, what are those?" I asked. The man shrugged and said, "Who knows? Who cares anyway? But you saw what they were eating? Many people get lost on this line. Now you know what's been of them." It's been a difficult year. I have lost a lot of things in my life. Job, friends, family members, money, my house. I have tried really hard to overcome my situation, but nothing I do seems to have had any effect. I can't believe that after being so successful and having so much in this life, now I'm homeless, without a penny, and everyone seems to have forgotten about me. Even God has forsaken me. Well, if the world has forgotten about me, then no one will miss me. I've heard many times that if you work real hard, you can overcome anything, but I feel like I am cursed. Even now, as I walk to the last subway station on this line, a heavy rain is pouring upon me. I will leave soon. I would like to have one last meal, but I have nothing in my pockets to buy even a piece of bread. It's better this way. The faster the better. There's the station. I still need to walk a bit more. I will go all the way down to the last underground level. It's fitting. Soon I will be relieved from this pain and suffering. This station is emptier than I expected. I picked it thinking precisely about that, so no one will bother me. What will happen to me after I do it? Will there be heaven? I'm sure if there's a heaven, God will listen to my reasons. He will understand. I have finally arrived. The next train will arrive in 10 minutes. Just a bit longer. I'll sit on his bench for a while. "Hello. What brings you here, my friend?" Who is this man? He's dressed all in white and has a powerful, misty voice. I didn't see him when I arrived. As he speaks, I feel better. His voice gives me hope. I'm taking my final trip. The man smiles at me, and that soothes me even more. "No, you are not. There is always a way, my son. Do not take the easy way out." What? How did this man know? "Who are you? Are you God?" The man smiled at me again and said, "I don't know what you're talking about. Just keep in mind that you're a very important person, and you have an important role to fulfill in this world. Never forget that. Everything that has happened to you, life will repay you tenfold." The train arrived and left as the man was speaking. I was speechless. His words gave me hope. I am not going to give up. The man seemed to have read my mind because he smiled and said, "Good, it's settled then." Then he stood up. He began walking away and slowly became a blur until he disappeared in front of my eyes.
If you reached this far, please give us a like. Consider subscribing activate notifications, and follow us on social media. Soon, we'll be back with more Inside the Cleft of Dimensions.